everyone, welcome to part 4 of our continuing series of building an open class car using an MS Pro suspension chassis. So here we are. I finished the back part of this, and I'm not totally finished yet because there's like one fatal flaw that I have to fix and a possible flaw up here that I should fix. So there are 2 carbon plates that I'll have to reprocess to get this to work properly. So here I have this mushroom pivot here, but it's not working as well as I want it to because there's a fatal flaw in the rear part, and I'll show it to you. I'll show my embarrassment to the world here. Here you see here, should be a screw that goes through the center hole, that goes through the mushroom cap, that goes up the top here. And unfortunately, the way that this was aligned, my carbon plate wasn't in perfect alignment with the mushroom cap right above it. So yeah, it worked better with the FRP plate because the FRP plate, these holes here were not straight across. The 2 on the outer edges were slightly higher than these ones in the center here. So I'll have to reprocess a new carbon, and I've got it right here. And I have these holes that I've made slightly below, so I'll show you. You can see a faint impression of it. I marked it right there, right on the paint, on the yellow paint. So there's little purple markings right here, and that's where I will drill extra holes right there. And then I'll just shave off all these parts here so that we get the U shape like before. And then when I slot this back in, then it will be positioned properly such that the mushroom screw, the screw that goes through the mushroom cap, will actually go through the entire unit, just like you see here, where in the centerpiece, that screw right there goes through the mushroom and up and to the supporting plate up here. So this is what I was talking about before in another video where this was not exactly aligned straight up and down. And so when I saw this, I was like, wait, why is it like that? So you want to try to get this as straight up and down as possible. You don't want it to be crooked because then, like, I think the way this was designed, it doesn't really matter as much, but since I'm a stickler for perfection, I want to make sure that everything's like where it should be, right? So this is my yoga teacher coming out, right? So alignment is key, right? You always have to try to align everything to the center line of your body. You want to align everything to the center line of the car body. So that's just how it is, and that's how you get perfect symmetry, and that's how you get perfect results when you're doing jumps and lands and things like that. You could like be off slightly. Like if you were to shave off this carbon plate, you might think that, okay, if I shave a little bit more on this side than this side, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, and that might be true, but if you want to get everything totally symmetrical, then you want to get the left and right halves of the plates as evenly as possible, so that when you land flat and true, rather than land bump, and then you have, it's a little lighter on the one side, and then it just tilts over. Because that little tilt of the car, when it lands, that can cost you a fraction of a second. And fractions of seconds are very meaningful when it comes to open class racing. So yeah, you want to make sure that everything is so precise. Now on the front part, the one thing that I don't like on this is, and it's my fault for not looking and seeing this quicker, but now this rocks a little bit too much on here, and that's because right here, if you see, look at the top right there, take a quick peek at this. See, it rocks a lot. And other cars that I have don't rock as much, right? It's a little bit of a rock, not too much. So what I have to do is reprocess a plate, and every time I reprocess a plate, it's like $10 a plate. So it's like, then that really adds up. So I messed up this first plate because here I was relying on the hole in the back way too much than on the front. So I was trying to align this hole here in the bottom to this center hole here, when I should have just simply looked at the front and go, aha, I have to drill this right in between where the line between the 2 Tamiya stars. I should have just aimed to the hole right below that. So instead of relying on the back, the crosshatch patterns of the carbon plating, I should have just looked at the front, looked at the Tamiya symbol, and just go straight down the middle from there. But yeah, so this is a $10 mistake. This here is another $10 mistake. That's $20 so far. And then this part here, the U-shaped thing, another $10 plate. So that's $30 I wasted so far on this whole thing. Now you see why like carbon fakes are so valuable to people who are like starting out building open class cars. You just get them and you just like prototype with them. And if you make mistakes on them, then it only costs you like $1.50 at most to create a mistake. And then if you make that mistake in like the cheaper plate, you don't feel as bad as if you spent the $10 on a good plate. And so yeah, so yeah, prototype with fake carbons and then create the real deal with real carbons. When you finally think that your design is perfect, then whip out your real plate and do the processing exactly the same way as your finished perfect fake plate. And then you substitute it in, and then you've got all real plates all around your car. Yeah, real cool. And so yeah, I just have to reprocess this so it doesn't rock so much. But who knows, maybe I'll leave this for a race or two to see what this is like. Or I can just simply stash the plate for another car where the processing on the front part of the chassis isn't so like deep, right? So I have another car in which the front part isn't so deep. So yeah, if you do VZ cars, my plate would have been perfect for a VZ car. So I guess I can basically save this do-over plate for another VZ car eventually. So we'll see if it's actually that useful. Otherwise, I'll just have to dispose of it or give it to somebody. So yeah, $30 in mistakes so far. Don't let this happen to you. So try to learn from your mistakes too. If you do make a mistake and you do like waste $30 on 3 plates, then you know that's your learning process right there. And you can always reuse carbons for other things. You don't have to throw the plate away because that's like a costly throwaway. So you can always like fashion this for something else. You never know. You never know. You might create something that's totally awesome and new with the scrap plates that you have. And so yeah, just don't wantonly throw away things that are so expensive like this. So very cool. So yeah, the back part is supposed to have this pivoting system, and it works somewhat, right? But because there's no stabilizer pin underneath, then it doesn't kind of rock the way it should. So we're going to fix this and we're going to get this to rock properly. So very, very cool. At least it snaps back in place and stays there, right? So I have here, I'll call this a rear stabilizing mount plate right there. And so this prevents this thing from rocking back and forth too much, right? So it rocks a little bit and then it goes up on each side and it also tilts up on the back here. But like I said, once I get this the screw that goes into the mushroom cap and upwards, once I get that in place, that post, then this should be moving around very freely like a normal mushroom cap. Yeah, very cool. So yeah, basically the back is reasonably finished. I just have to do the front again. And this is not the body that I'll use for this. This body came off of this car, Green Lantern. So I'm right now painting a new canopy for my red car here, for my MS Pro car. So that's being processed right now, paint processed. And yeah, I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you in the next video. So yes, stay tuned for the next part.